And so now I'm able to, do national campaigns with people like Mary J. Blige and Sierra for initiatives that mean so much to me.
Yes.
Our health, Black folk, we got to do better.
We do.
And we got to tell the stories though.
Yes.
So that's one thing I've been able to do. When I did an initiative with Mary J. Blige, it was for breast cancer awareness. Sierra, cervical health awareness. This is all through film. This is all through storytelling. Hi, I'm Lisa Cunningham. I'm an Atlanta native and a filmmaker, and you can catch me on this week's episode of I Do Film with Cardellia Hunter.
Some may call her Captain, but I call my next guest the real game changer. She's working hard to make sure her LGBTQ+ community is being well represented in television and film as she fights for diversity, equity, and inclusion. As a lesbian Black woman, this can come as a triple whammy when facing adversities. But as the captain of her own ship, she's setting sail to pave a new way. From directing music videos to producing and directing her own content, she's well on her way to the top. I Do Film family, please welcome our next guest, Lisa Cunningham.
Hi, how
Hello.
are you?
Good.
Oh,
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This is going to be an amazing conversation.
Yes.
But but before we jump in, I like to do a little icebreaker.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right.
Pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie?
Oh, sweet potato pie.
Producing or directing?
Directing.
Turkey or ham?
Turkey.
For profit or not profit?
Not profit.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Thanksgiving.
Spending time with your family or spending time with your friends?
Family.
What is your top 3 Christmas movies?
Oh man, top 3 favorite Christmas movies: Preacher's Wife.
Yes, I love Preacher's
Jingle
Wife.
Jangle, and Miracle on 34th Street.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Why Preacher's Wife?
Oh, I mean, Whitney Houston.
Okay.
There's nothing else to say. There. Okay.
You find yourself singing around the house and
That's
everything,
right,
huh?
honey.
Yeah. And tell me, what's on your plate for Thanksgiving?
Oh, on my plate for Thanksgiving, it'll probably be what it always is. I recently lost a ton of weight, but I do not deny myself when it's special times. So Thanksgiving, we'll have all of the trimmings.
All the trimmings.
Turkey, macaroni and cheese, cranberry sauce, you name it.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. Music videos or documentaries?
Documentaries.
That's what I figured. But you started off in the music industry, right?
Absolutely.
And speaking of music videos, you got your start directing many videos. What made you go and pivot to directing digital content and films?
You know what's so crazy is I grew up in Atlanta during that time of magic, right?
Yeah.
We had LaFace, we had So Def. I was there. I was there when TLC said, "What about your friends?"
Yes.
I was on set on that video. And that was the first check I ever got on a video set. I got $100 and I said, I am never going back to college.
So that $100 was quick and fun, right?
Well, back in whatever year that was a lot of money for one day's work. But what ultimately happened was, think about how big those videos were back then.
Some big budget videos.
They were mini movies. And so I always like to say those prepared me, right, for what I would end up matriculating to. You told stories. I mean, the connection that we had to the culture was on 10. I mean, I think those years in the entertainment industry in Atlanta are what have helped us to become this city that we have today.
Yeah.
But one day, as you start to get a little bit older, honey, you wake up and you say, is this it? Is this it? Is this all that I am going to contribute to this ecosystem? I have been raised by parents who were in the trenches, from a community standpoint. My mama used to take me to do Metro Fair housing runs, where she would try to pretend to buy a house and see if the white people would actually want to sell it to her, right?
Really?
Yeah. So I would be doing this. My sister worked for the King Center, back in the 80s. So this is what I grew up with, but yet I was doing something that was totally different than my foundation. One day I said to myself, it's time. And I set that intention in motion. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I had a producer at MTV tell me, Lisa, you'll always be doing music videos. That's it. He was like, no, you'll always be doing this. And it was like so crazy for him to say that so arrogantly to me. Like he knew my destiny and I didn't, but at the time I didn't. And so when I started to really think about what I wanted to give to myself and to the world, it was an absolute game changer. Because, you know, as you get older, mama was starting to age and have a lot of health problems. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing how we have the advantage because we had good health care. We had folks in the home with her. We had physicians in our family to advocate on her behalf. But that's not most of Black America.
Right.
And so I started to think about how could I use my work in film to help tell stories, to help people, quite frankly, live. So that's really my purpose now, is to help tell stories that can help you live. Live a better life, live a longer life, because we talk about lifespan. What about your health span? How healthy are you while you are living?
Yes.
We don't think about that.
No. And I always say, you know, prosperity, that word means so much. And my pastor always says, what good is to be financially prosper, but that health isn't for you to be able to enjoy it.
Come on.
So I understand that very much so. So music videos.
Yes.
He stereotyped you,
yes,
of course,
yep,
which probably put a little fire up under you,
yep,
to do what it is that you are doing today. But what was that transition like?
Well, it was scary, quite frankly. I'll never forget being on a set with a very popular artist who also had a television show. So we're filming our music video while they're simultaneously filming for this television show. And his children were there, and the scene was this, it was kind of like this, gang kind of situation. And there were all of these guns out on a table because that was the theme of the video. You know, one crew is about to go light up another crew, right? And I had done this scenario, I don't know how many times on sets over the years. I mean, going back to Tupac and MC Breed, you know, I mean, really long time I had been seeing guns on sets. Mm-hmm. That was natural to me, right? But it was something about the fact that his children were there. It changed me forever. I remember going out, talking to the director because I was producing it. I said, this don't sit right with me. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the moment where I knew I had to do some different content. I had to contribute in a whole different way with my craft. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've looked back. You know, it was, you don't know how you're going to get there. It was baby steps. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You know, I'd have my one little foot still in the...
in familiarity territory.
Girl.
Yes.
In familiarity. Because you get so used to doing the same damn thing. So what I started doing is crazy things. I tell anybody this, when we're talking about film, we got to talk about life.
Yes.
Right? We can't just talk about film. Right? So I started doing this thing where I would leave my house and, you know, like you go to your local coffee shop, right? I wouldn't do that. I'd go out to Alpharetta. I'd go to another part of town just to get outside of my comfort zone. I started talking to different people who weren't in my comfort zone. I started dealing with a lot of nonprofits, corporations, I would do marketing videos for, you know, different people and stuff. So I was trying to just put myself in a whole nother world at the expense of sometimes, you know, taking projects for, you know, little or nothing.
But even though it was a little nothing, it was some experience that you was gaining for it that was able to bring you to where you are today.
Yes.
And speaking of today, you know, you started directing. Yes. How did you get your start in directing, and what was your first big break?
Well, it's so funny because I directed a bunch of music videos.
Yes.
And, you know, I recently shared that, you know, I was actually I used to be ashamed of the fact that I had directed Gucci Mane's first video, So Icy.
We talked about that.
We talked about it.
Yes.
How silly is that I was ashamed of that? As we celebrate, 50 years of hip hop, I should be taking all of the spirit of all of that with me, that fearlessness, that courage, right? But now kind of using it from a different lens. And so that was my big break is being able to direct a lot of, these music videos. But then I'll never forget, I was working with this organization. I was really not still comfortable in this LGBTQ skin. Even though I'm from Atlanta, it's a pretty liberal city, but I always felt safe in the entertainment world.
Right.
Because that's the world of misfits and anything goes, right? But when we start transferring over here to corporate and nonprofit, I didn't feel like I fit. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
So this heritage newspaper we have, the Atlanta Voice.
Atlanta Voice.
Love them. They had contracted me to do a marketing video for them. And the event was a big dinner. It was 50 under 50, and it was celebrating 50 years of the Atlanta Voice. The former mayor, Kasim Reed, was in the video, and it was going to be played first at this big gala type thing. Why am I outside in the car, scared to walk in? Because it was going to be the first time I ever looked like this when I was going to a dressed up event. I was scared to present in the way that I present.
Your authentic self.
Right?
Yes.
I ain't had no dress on.
Yes.
Everybody had dresses on. So, honey, I walked up in that place scared. That's what we say, do it with fear.
Yeah.
Right?
Doing it scared.
You do it scared. I walk up in that place scared. And the first person who greets me is Janice Ware's husband. Oh, he's so amazing. He said, first of all, I got to ask you a question. How do you identify? This man is probably over 60.
Okay.
Okay? It brings me to tears just thinking about this story, because when you start talking about equity and inclusion and how you can be an ally, it was just crazy how when he saw me and I said, I'm she, her, hers, right?
Okay.
He said, well then, okay, girl, I just saw that video and you did an amazing job. And it disarmed me.
I know it did.
And I have never been the same, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I walk into every room with my head held high, and it seemed like all the opportunities came from that. Yeah. And so now I'm able to, do national campaigns with people like Mary J. Blige and Sierra for initiatives that mean so much to me.
Yes.
Our health, Black folk, we got to do better.
We do.
And we got to tell the stories though.
Yes.
So that's one thing I've been able to do. When I did an initiative with Mary J. Blige, it was for breast cancer awareness. Sierra, cervical health awareness. Yes. This is all through film. This is all through storytelling. So when people tell me they want to be a storyteller, they want to do film, all of this stuff, I always say, because a lot of people you may have on this podcast are really on the movie television side of it. But what we talked about backstage was that folks have to understand there's a whole big world that you can have for this storytelling piece.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I ended up finding, is that my pathway wasn't going to be the traditional way into, now I'm blessed to be able to have just completed, my first big documentary and things like that. But think about that pathway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it all came from being scared to walk through that door.
Girl.
And I don't know about you, but there's a higher being in my life. And so he was like, I'm finna make you okay when you walk through this. I mean, as soon as you walk through this door, and took any type of stereotype off of you so you can be where you are today.
That's right.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I was going to jump to one question, but since you talked about being, producing your first documentary.
Yes.
How long did it take you to write it, present it, and feel good to where you are with it right now? And if I'm not mistaken, is that Me Period?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's starring Sheryl Lee Ralph, Candy Burris, and Tabitha Brown.
What's so crazy is I get a chance to work with all these amazing nonprofits. and I was working with the Black Women's Health Imperative. And I saw something on their YouTube page, and it was a clip from a documentary that the founder had done back in the 80s called Becoming a Woman, where she got together Black mothers and daughters to talk about the talk. Okay. Period, menstruation, puberty, the whole thing. And I said, wait a minute now, let me go to Beyonce's internet here and let me see if somebody's done this again. Because surely by now we've had another one of these.
20, 30 years ago.
There was nothing like it that I could find. I said, hold on, I'm getting ready to do this. And so I went to them and I said, hey, y'all can find me a couple of dollars to do this thing, which we did prayerfully. And I tell you what, I started casting this amazing group of Black women, real world women first, of course, all different backgrounds, age ranges, with their daughters that were between 11 and 13. So that was the first part. And then I said, you know what, this is, what year we're in now. I said, we're going to add a little sizzle, because we also wanted to hear from some of these celebrities that we know and love, and to hear what their experiences might have been like, or their experiences with their daughters. Yes. Because there's a universality in all of this. And that's what we ended up finding out. But I'm going to tell you, I was not prepared for all of the places that conversation would go. We had sexual assault. We had the women who were like, wait a minute, I'm learning things here. This is a situation where I can honestly say both the children and their parents learned so much, because I want to equip the mothers. Yes. And so that's what now, when we start talking about why I wanted to I call it the remix, because I came from the entertainment business, right? Why I wanted to remix my whole life is because of that. Because now I know through storytelling what we can accomplish with this documentary. We can single-handedly help young Black girls and their mothers, equip them with the information to be able to change their habits for years to come. Yes. Because we all know how you start out oftentimes is how you finish. Yeah. Shouldn't always be the case, but we do know that foundation is very important. Making a young girl feel proud about when she becomes, come on, instead of the doom and the gloom. And so that's where I'm at with that project. Super, super excited about it.
I can tell you're very excited, and I can tell that you definitely didn't really know the way it was going to take off.
You never do.
No.
And that's the thing about it, right? It's like we talked about this backstage when I was filming Me, Period. The last day of filming The Real World Mothers and Daughters, my mother passed away while I was on set. And I said to myself, if that was the most angelic sign of me walking in my purpose, and that my crew, the cast, all gave me this big hug. It was just such a beautiful moment. When you are walking in your purpose and in your own ministry, you don't ask the what, you know the why. Yes. So the why will take you to that greater situation. Yeah, I'm not concerned. That outcome, that's blessed. Yeah. That's over there.
That outcome is going to reach millions. Yes. It's going to reach millions. So, Atlanta is not only Black Hollywood, but it's high ranking in the LGBTQ plus community. What is your plans to utilize both of these entities to create useful content?
Well, it's so fun. First of all, when I show up.
I know that's right.
When I get in that room, it's just like when we as Black folk get in the room, right? So when I show up, let me tell you what happened to me. And I'm older than her. I saw Lena Waithe win a damn Emmy Award. Tears started streaming down my face as if we were kinfolk or she was a good buddy of mine. Yeah. I only met her once. Yeah. But that representation, it meant something for me. Just thinking about it right now gives me chills. And so very first and foremost, I'm going to show up and I'm going to show out every time and represent for that community. Absolutely. And then when I see some of my folks, I'm going to bring them along with me. Yes.
Each one teach one.
Each one teach one.
Yes.
And so I think those are the two biggest ways where I'm just going to always ensure that I can be, representing for my people. And then also making sure that I have diverse stories, within my content.
Yes.
I never forget this happened to me. And this was an aha moment. I was filming something for a nonprofit. It was a Mother's Day campaign. And I'm thinking about them from a very traditional lens at the time, so it was mothers, grandmothers, and their children. And, it's just a nice little visual representation. I wanted to have eight, different sets of mothers and daughters. And a couple of nights before I was about to shoot, I said, I didn't include anybody from the LGBTQ space. Me. And this is why I talk about people giving people grace so much. Yes. You'll hear a lot of people say, forget grace. We tired of giving folks grace. Well, I'm so glad that I gave myself grace.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I course corrected, and I will never, ever do that again. I am always going to make sure that I'm thinking about including all different, different diverse backgrounds of people. And then how am I going to leave myself out of the mix?
The main person.
Yes, but I put that in there, and it was a wonderful, wonderful campaign.
Yeah. That's interesting. And we need more intentional content. And everything you have put out has definitely been intentional. And to be able to, like you said, you gave yourself grace on that. We don't have to worry about it no more.
Oh, no.
Because we're all one.
Yeah.
We're all one.
I mean, notice a lot of times you'll see it also with regards to age.
Yes.
The ageism thing is real.
Yeah.
And so I always get on my designers and stuff. I'm like, this right here, we need to include our seniors in this conversation. Yeah.
That's a great conversation with the seniors.
Honey.
Because a lot of times the seniors is why we are ashamed to talk about coming into a woman.
Yes.
Going through puberty, because you remember, don't you tell nobody.
Don't you tell nobody. We don't talk about those things in this house.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
But they give us so much richness as well.
Absolutely.
There's so many gems. I'm working on a project now that's called Gems of a Legacy, and there's just so many gems that we can get from our seniors. So it's interesting how we have to balance that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're right. For my granny left this world at 10. Granny was shy of 102. I would just want to talk to her.
Yes.
I just would beat her head in, give me all the information that you know, or whatever. And, I think I might have asked her something about in regards to voting. And she's like, oh, I don't remember I don't even remember who I voted for my first time, but I know I was up in age, and Granny had become blind. She said, but I heard we got us a nice looking president now.
Yeah.
President Obama. And I said, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I want to get back over, because we talked about Lena Waithe. So more recently in TV shows like P-Valley and The Chi, we see a lot of LGBTQ plus content. Lena Waithe is very pivotal in showcasing that in her work. What is your response to viewers who think the same-sex relationships or same-sex scenes are too much for TV?
It's so interesting when we think about the years that we have with a certain narrative, right? So in the history of film, I came up when you would still see women getting slapped in films.
Yes.
I watch black and white films to this day, and you're going to see a Hollywood actress actually get slapped like it's nothing by a man. You see people smoking, chain smoking in films. And it's just so interesting to me as we evolve, narratives have to change.
Yes, right.
It's just that simple, to represent a broader group of folks. So it's interesting when we talk about the agenda that people think that Hollywood has. And it's like, is it really an agenda, or is it just us broadening that lens?
Yeah.
That's simply what I see it as. you know? And so if we're going to show, you know, this on one side, then we show it on the other. And I get it. That's a hard pill for some people to swallow, that have different religious views and what have you. And those are the people who don't have to watch that programming. But that programming should absolutely exist so that somebody can see themselves in it and know that it is okay.
Yes.
And it's just that simple. So I don't get caught up in the weeds of, you know, oh my gosh, is it good or is it bad? It's just like somebody following you on social media and telling you, I don't like what you said today. But why are you following me?
No, please unfollow today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, that makes sense. Why not? Because LGBTQ plus community is not a movement.
No.
It is life.
It is life. And I mean, and that's the hard pill for some people to swallow, right? Is that it is life. It's been around forever. When we start talking about our native people, when we start talking about our Africans and our native people, there were always two-spirited folks. There was always these different folks. I love how in The Woman King, we had that, you saw the little character in there. They included it because they understood that the totality of us, that we've been around forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there is no takeover. There is no commanding, you know, of this space where all of a sudden it's going to be, you know, that's the part. It's what it is instilling fear. I exist through love.
Yes, absolutely.
So the fear thing of instilling fear in our children and instilling fear, I just don't operate in that space.
And you know, our children, they're fearless.
Thank you.
You know, you're not going to shame them.
No.
You're not going to hide them.
No.
And like you said, it's been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's just that it's being comfortable.
Yes.
You know, someone finally stood up and said, look, we're here. We're human.
Yes.
We put on our shoes and pants just like everybody else. So we still have a long way to go.
Yes, we do.
But I think that through the amazing documentaries that you're doing, and I know that you will not leave out anything to be able to show the world from a different lens.
Yes. I'm working on one now that addresses one of our LGBTQ issues. And it's something that's so personal for me, Cardellia. Now, you know me. You know I'm Lisa. I'm your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Because you know me.
Yes.
But honey, when I'm in public and I need to just do something as simple as using the public restroom, I get, and you know how happy of a person I am, I get anxiety as I start to get to that door. Anxiety. Because I know that there's probably somebody on the other side that's going to say, hey, you're not supposed to be in here. I've been told when I tell them, oh, I'm a woman, they say, no, you're not. This is the hurtful stuff that I have to deal with every day. So I'm working on a project with my partner that will address that, a little short film about that experience that I have on a daily basis when I'm just out in public trying to do the most basic things. Trying to do the most basic things. Because all women we're not a monolith. We don't all look alike.
Who you telling? Absolutely.
And you don't even have to be in the LGBT community to sometimes want to look like a little tomboy, you know?
It's so funny that you say that because I always ask my team, I'll be like, how come I can't just shoot in my Chucks? They know I'm a Chuck girl.
Right.
I came in here with Chucks.
Oh, well, you Kelly. You know you're gonna be Chucks till you die.
Chucks, my sweatshirt, and growing up, you know, I was this little tomboy.
Right.
Mom, don't comb my hair. Can you braid me to the back?
Right.
T-shirt, jeans, because I gotta get that tree.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna let the boys in the neighborhood outdo me.
I love it.
And I love that I had that in me.
Yes.
You know, and even with raising my kids, I made sure they had that in them.
Yes.
Like, we're going to the park, we're going to play, there's no such thing. You want to.
The boys have to do this and the girls have to do that.
We did it all together, you know, because that's what you have to do. And, you know, when you do that piece really needs to go on a college tour.
Yes.
And especially a HBC college tour.
Yeah.
It's very much needed. I see, you know, I'm Grambling graduate, I go back to school and, you know, they're comfortable when we're not around. But then when the alumni come, you can tell when it kind of shifts.
Oh,
And
interesting.
And that's not the way it
That's so
should be.
true. Because that's how we button up, try to get we get a little scared when other people are around. And I just don't want our young people. The statistics on the LGBTQ community with young people who attempt suicide are skyrocketing. So we got to make sure that these people, my people, our people, feel comfortable in their skin.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You push really hard about DEI. What's the passion behind it?
I mean, the passion is seeing what it looks like when we don't have it. Everybody wants to talk about, the labels and the names for things. Some people don't say DEI now. It's this, and this. All these different, we get caught up in the weeds.
Yes.
And I just say, that one phrase from that says, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. But I feel like the next part is belongingness is being able to dance like no one is watching. Yes. Yeah. And that's how I lead with everything now. Yes. Is I want to create spaces for folks, whether we're talking about, our whatever the communities are. I just found out that a buddy of mine, while we were talking, she had a hearing aid in, right? I didn't know that she had that condition until we were on a panel together. And she was talking about how that is something she has to navigate in this world. And so we have to build things with folks in mind. It's not an afterthought. Absolutely. So from your film sets to your storytelling to who gets to tell the story, honey. Can the black women get to tell the story? Yeah. Can the white women get to tell the story? That's right. Right? Yeah. Can somebody that looks like me and Lena get to tell the story? That's all it is. Yeah. It's that sense of belonging. That's not like when we get there, we scared. I'll never forget one of the proudest moments was when Issa Rae was on that damn red carpet and she said, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's and I said to myself, what Hollywood actor from the 80s or 90s would have been able to say something crazy like that? And then if they would have, then that would have been the end of us seeing them on the screen, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's that belongingness that she felt like. And I love that age range because the younger folks, they don't hold anything back. Yeah. And so that's what I admire. I joke with people. I say, I have the soul of Gen X, but I think I have the spirit of a millennial. Yeah. That's a good little combination. Yeah. But I do like that. I do like that. Feel like, dance like no one is watching. Dance like no one's watching. That means just be That means free, you belong. And you belong. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. As a motivational and inspiration speaker, can you share some of your knowledge to our listeners who need that push to just go for their goals? Oh my goodness. Yes. Talk to the audience. I take that back to that thing I talk about, which is the remix. Some people like to call it the pivot. I call it the remix because of the entertainment industry. And what I challenge everyone to do is think of their life like that. If you look at a great remix, oftentimes you got to speed something up a bit, right? Sometimes you're going to have to collaborate with some new folks. Get outside of your comfort zone. Back in the day, we would make a remix and you'd have one that would be for Detroit, right? With the techno people. You'd have house music for the Chicago folks, bass music for the down south folks. And so that remix of life makes sure that you are broadening your network. And that word networking is so crazy to me because it has such a played out cliche tone to it. What does that, in today's world, it doesn't hit anymore, right? And so I think that we have to do when we're out here trying to figure things out. When Drake said no new friends, I totally disagree with that. To get to your next level, you need new friends. You probably are going to need some new friends. Yes. I used to tell people, let me tell you something. I love the phrase adders, dividers, multipliers, and subtractors, right? Take inventory of your life and see who you've got in your life. And you'll find that you probably have a couple of people who do add to your life. Mm-hmm. You probably have some folks that subtract too. Let's just keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
And oftentimes I see this a lot in families. You may have a little bit of a person who divides a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And we can't usually quit our families, but we can quietly quit them sometimes, okay? But it's the multipliers you should be looking for. It's the people that aren't in your immediate group. Mm-hmm. The multipliers up here. And so you've got to seek them out. And how do you go about that? I joke with young people. I'm like, I look at your page. You following a bunch of celebrities and you want to be in the film industry. Mm-hmm. You're not following any showrunners. Showrunners, writers, all of these people typically have under 3,000 followers. So guess what? If you send them a message or if you send them a DM, they're going to actually see it.
Absolutely. Never thought of that's a good gem.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's so, I'm telling you, the world, we make it because we come from a lineage a lot of times that level sets us to understand how heavy this world is going to be. So we set ourselves up the way I talked to earlier about walking in that room scared. Yeah. We set ourselves up that way. Yeah. If we were to start remixing our thoughts and understand that we're golden in whatever room we go into, it would be a game changer for most of us. But it's that fear. We got to get past that.
I like remixing. And I hate to say, I used to be one, no new friends. And, but I guess for another reason why I would say that. But now that you have broke it down like that, I have a lot of new friends. Yeah, that has been adding or helping to multiply.
Thank you.
So I do like that.
Yes.
That's a good
And
deal.
You can have a mentor that's younger than you.
Absolutely.
That's something that people don't even think of. One of my mentors is younger than me. And we actually mentor back and forth to each other. So that's another thing. So there can be a dual mentorship relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. We just got to take whatever these original lenses. You know, one of my favorite books is The 4 Agreements, because we have to realize that we have signed up for an agreement. We are agreeing to an agreement that we didn't sign up for. Mm. Our parents did, society did, but not us. Yes. So once I realized what my true agreement was with myself and my higher power, honey,
we can't stop.
There was no stopping.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So what's next for Lisa?
Oh man, I'm just going to keep delivering aha moments for folks. I want you to look at whatever I'm saying or what I'm presenting on a screen and say, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, you did open up some eyes today.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to continue doing. So that's what you'll see from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lisa needs a master class.
Oh.
I think the film, I Do Film, is going to do a master class for Lisa.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold me to it.
Yes.
I'll be here.
So tell our listening audience how they can keep up with you.
Oh, on social, I am CABT Cunningham. That's short for captain because my interns named me that years ago.
Okay, you just answered my question. I was going to say, how'd you get captain?
Yes. Because I am the person that's going to stay with that ship till the end, honey.
I love
it.
Oh,
and my website is IHaveTheSecret.com.
You heard that? IHaveTheSecret.com.
And I got that years ago before I truly had it. So that's that manifestation and work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Go to the website. Don't be DMing her without going to that website.
Right.
Yeah, this was good.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this was really good.
This was great.
Let me tell you, this goes so good that I forgot I was sitting here. Well, that's a wrap for us today. But make sure you tune in every Tuesday to catch more jewels of I Do Film. Follow us on all social media platforms at I Do Film Atlanta. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm your host, Cardellia Hunter. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time.